Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anna. I'm a digital fantasy artist and today I'll be talking about everything I wish I knew when I started digital art. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the love on my last video. I really do my videos with lots of love and I'm so happy it's helping you guys. It just makes my heart so warm and I just get so happy that I started a YouTube channel. And here I just wanted to talk a little bit about this piece. It's Nehemia from Tog, that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And I forgot to film the part where I sketched and planned the painting, but I hope you guys still enjoy all the rendering I did for this painting. I think it took me around 6 hours and I think I should have painted more, honestly, but it's based on Nehemia, the character, and the mermaid vibe that I'm already getting because we're almost at May. And I really like this painting and I hope you guys liked it as well. So without further ado, I just wanted to say that I'm so excited to do this video because I've been painting digitally since I was 12 years old and I literally honestly, YouTube was my teacher and I'm so grateful that I was able to have the privilege to start digital art and be able to learn so much from all the amazing creators here on YouTube. And now I just really want to give back. And the first thing I want to talk about is the technology and the materials part of digital art. I feel like a lot of people just get really overwhelmed with the amount of softwares that you can choose to use, or with the tablets, and there is all the things that people talk about. Should I use Procreate? Should I use like in an iPad, or should I just get like the most expensive Wacom tablet? Because if I don't have the tablet the size of a TV, I'll never be a professional artist. You know, like I remember being so young and already thinking all those things. So I just wanted to give you clarity because I know it can just get really overwhelming. First, I wanted to talk about the softwares. Should you use Photoshop, Pen to Sci, or Krita? Procreate, in the other hand, I have used it, but I don't have lots of experience with it, so I'm not really going to talk about it in this video because I've been using Photoshop for the past, 8 years of my digital art journey. So I like it, but I feel like there are some things that Photoshop has, like the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, that I just can't use on Procreate. I feel like I would take so much longer to paint what I paint in Photoshop in Procreate. But I just separated Photoshop, Pen to Sci, and Krita. Krita, honestly, it's a software that I haven't ever used it, but I see so many people using it and they say that it's so much better than Photoshop. So I would definitely have told my younger self to go research Krita and honestly try to use it and try to see how it is, because I feel like it's so much easier to use Krita as a digital artist. And once you get the hang of a software, you're not going to want to change it. Like, that's the bad part. We're like little animals. We start using a software and we get dependent on it. So that's why it's really important for you to already choose one that you are going to like and that you're going to feel like it's going to be good throughout your journey. And Pen to Sci is the one that I actually started with, and I feel like it's really good for beginner artists if you just want to get the hang of digital art, because it's free. Let's just start right there. Photoshop, you need to pay. Krita, I'm not sure. I think it's free. But Pen to Sci, it's completely free, and I feel like it has such a simple learning curve, and I remember that I learned to paint in Pen to Sci and it was so much better. And after I transitioned to Photoshop, I had like such an easy time as well. And remember, I'm telling you all of this, but please research about the softwares. Like, the research phase of starting digital art is so important, because the more you get experience from other people, the better it is when you make a choice of what software and what device is better for you. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about privilege, because obviously it's really easy for me to say, oh, just get Photoshop, but it actually costs money. And if you're just starting as a beginner artist, you might be young, so you might depend on your parents, so you're going to have to ask them, and your parents might not have the conditions to offer you Photoshop, or you might just be starting out and you don't really have any money coming from art, so you can't really invest in yourself and get Photoshop. So there is a lot of talk around the privilege of digital art, like what types of people can actually get a computer, because even if you don't have Procreate on an iPad, you are just going to buy a monitor from Wacom, and you're going to need a computer. So starting digital art is kind of like just being around really privileged people, because you need a Wi-Fi connection, a computer, a desk, monitor, and like a good space in your house that you can work. So all of those things might not be possible for everyone. So we just really need to point out that digital art is not just as easy as people say. But at the same time, I think it might be good as an investment in the long run, because if you think about all the costs of being a traditional artist, you might get really surprised, because traditional art, you're going to probably have like marker fever, where you go to an art store and you just want to buy everything, and you might honestly spend the amount of money you would pay on a Wacom monitor, you might spend in an year being a traditional artist, because you're going to buy paints, and then you're going to buy canvases, and you're going to buy paper, and you're going to buy markers. And being a traditional artist, honestly, no hate, like I had a traditional art phase, and I love traditional art. I think it's so important to value people who don't have the option to undo, okay? But I do think that it is really expensive to be a traditional artist. So when you think about that, maybe the costs of being a digital artist are not going to scare you as much. But I just wanted to touch on here about if you need fancy equipment, or if anything is fine. And I think the biggest myth as a beginner artist is that you need the best marker, and you need the best paper, and you need the pen of that reels that you saw in 2017, or you're not going to be a good artist. I'm not roasting anyone, okay? I really had these fever things that if I didn't have the exact Wacom from my best artist, I would fail, okay? But plot twist, it's all a lie. Literally, the first Wacom I had was a Wacom Bamboo tablet. So I actually looked at my screen in my computer, and I had a small computer, so honestly the quality was so bad. But I still painted, and I did really good paintings with that. So it's such a big myth that you need really expensive materials as a digital artist, especially if you're beginning. You are still learning the interface. It doesn't matter if someone gives you the Intuos Pro Wacom. You're not going to know how to use it. So you really need the experience and the time it takes to learn digital art before you can start getting fancy in your equipment. And it's the same thing with brushes. As a digital artist, after I got Pen Tools High, I just downloaded every single brush pack for free that I could find. And I had no idea how to use it, because I still didn't know the fundamentals. And honestly, for the fundamentals, you just need the basic brushes that already come with the program. So that's basically what I wanted to say in this technology part, is that really do your research, see what program is best for you, think about your financial situation, what can you pay, what you can't pay. Know that you're not going to be a worst artist if you can't pay the best equipment, and just think about what's going to be best for you. So go and research a lot. The second thing that I wanted to talk about that I wish I knew as a digital artist, as a beginner digital artist, is that you are going to have such a rocky start. And it doesn't matter what people say, like, oh, it's going to be easy, oh, you just watch 3 YouTube videos and you're going to be amazing at art. That are lies, bro. The first time I touched a pen in the Wacom and I drew it, like, my first Wacom was a bamboo tablet, so it didn't really have the screen. It was just like a flat out dark monitor thingy, and I had to look at the screen in my computer, and I just couldn't, like, my hand movements, they were completely lost. Like, I remember not knowing where I should look. Like, I didn't have the coordination of looking at the screen and drawing in the monitor. And honestly, when I first bought it, I thought I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I was like, bro, this is not for me. Like, I don't have this coordination. I was about to just start painting with my mouse because that seemed easier than having to draw on something I can't look at. But it's all a learning curve, and I feel like when people say, oh, it's easy, oh, look at my speed paint, it's so easy how I do it, and people don't talk about the fact that when I started, I couldn't even hold the pen correctly against my monitor. And honestly, I feel like it's learning how to draw all over again. And it's just easier. If I had started right now, I would rather someone tell me that it's going to have a rocky start than someone tell me that it's supposed to be easy and you're going to get it straight away, okay? So just know that if you feel like you can't paint in a Wacom monitor, you're not alone. It's completely normal, okay? And another myth that I wanted to talk about, when I saw speed paint, I thought it was magic. I was like, bro, she just got the brush and she painted over the person and it came out realistic. Like, wow, like, I couldn't understand that actually the person who painted this, she did every single mark. And like, I feel like it's such a shock when you realize that digital art is not magic. It's not like she got a brush and painted it. No, the person actually paints every single detail, and it's not that different from traditional art in the sense of there are thousands of layers and thousands of ways to paint. So it's kind of disheartening when you start digital art, because you're like, oh my god, it's so much harder than I thought it would be. But I'm just here to tell you that it's not impossible, as nothing is in life, honestly. And that everyone had their first time, and we just need to push through. So remember, just be kind to yourself. Take your time to learn how the tool works. Take your time to learn every single tool. For example, in the Photoshop, like, there are so many tools there. Watch a lot of Photoshop speed paint videos and start trying to learn how the interface works. Something I really like to do was to make my own organization of my workspace. So which color wheel do I like, which, like, my brushes, and what little organization was I going to do with them, how do I like my layers. Everyone has their own little style, so the more you make it feel like home, the easier it's going to be for you. And again, I'm going to emphasize the fact that it's fine to get hyped up about brushes. Like, I remember being so happy when my favorite artist had a free pack. I would like, oh my god, I'm just going to download everything. But bro, it's just going to literally make your brush section so messy. You can see here in the speed paint, my brush section is still messy. Like, 8 years later, I have not organized correctly my brushes. So if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, organize your brush in every single thingy and see what brush works for what. But remember that you actually only need the general brushes. That's it. So the third thing that I wish I knew as a beginner digital artist, is that you are going to feel overwhelmed. And I think it kind of ties up with the rocky start, but I just wanted to say that the feeling of getting overwhelmed by digital art is so big, because it's not really like traditional art, like, oh, I paint in oil, I paint with markers, blah blah blah. No, it's like with Photoshop you can do a trillion different types of paintings, and there are cartoon styles, and you should focus on your line art. But then if you want to make realistic styles, you shouldn't have any line art. And if you want to paint skies, you should use really a lot of textures. But if you want to make it look really blended, you need to only use the airbrush. Like, every single person is going to say something different, and it's really important to like just think about what you want to paint. And you might be in a dilemma. Like, when I was younger, I remember that I didn't know if I wanted more of an anime style, like more focused on line art and like really anime style, or should I go to a more semi-realistic style. I ended up really liking the semi-realistic style. So as you can see in this speed paint, it has textures, but it's more with the realistic kind of vibe and not really line art. But then when I would watch a video, every single creator would say something different, like, no, if you're doing cartoon style, you should focus on line art. And I couldn't do line art for my whole entire life, and it would just make me so frustrated. So I feel like it's really important to point out the feeling of being overwhelmed by digital art, and just remember to ground yourself, to breathe, to be like, this is a new skill, it is hard, and I'm going to learn it, but it's going to take time. And sometimes it is good to make your research, but don't research too hard, because you're going to start convincing yourself that you can't do it. And it's really, really sad, because that's just a human thing, you know? So just like try to focus on baby steps. Let me just open Photoshop and learn how to use the airbrush. That's already great. That's already such a great start, okay? It is such a difficult skill, and there is so many ways you can go with it. So just remember that your learning is not going to be consistent. Something that happened to me, I started with an anime style, and then I just wanted to change. What if I had just sticked to what I knew forever? It would be bad. So I just needed to open doors for myself, to be able to try new things and just focus on things that I had no idea how to do. So it's always a new step. Another tip that I would definitely want to give to myself if I was starting digital art right now, it's to focus on color studies. I feel like the best way to like start something new is to copy like photos, and not like with the eyedropper tool. Like, just start making color studies so you can try different brushes, and you won't really have to think about what you're painting, because you're just going to be referencing directly from an image. So it's really a nice way to start practicing how things look in real life, and starting to get comfortable in just painting with the interface that you chose. I plan on making how I do color study videos, so you guys don't get too lost when I say that it's a tip, but it's basically getting a reference picture from real life and trying your best to replicate it, but not being too like, I want it to look realistic, just focusing on the colors. And I feel like that closes my feeling overwhelmed point, because it's just me telling you, like, it is going to feel like there is so much that you need to learn, and you will never be able to do it. But I want you to sit with that feeling. Know that it's true. There are lots of things that you are going to learn in digital art, but it is never impossible, and you aren't less worthy than anyone to learn this. Like, I feel like learning is something that it just really takes time and lots of motivation. It's not like I have talent or anything. I just sat down and I studied. And again, we can just add a little privilege thing here, because obviously it implies that you have time to study, you have money for digital art. So it's not like I'm saying that everyone can do it. No, I'm saying that it depends on your circumstances, but I don't want you to feel that you can't learn digital art ever. It doesn't matter if it's from where you come from or who you are or your family. I don't want to know. I just want you to know that you are capable, and if you put in the effort, you're going to see some sort of improvement. And the last thing that I wish I knew if I started digital art right now is to study other artists. And I feel like that is really controversial, because when I started digital art, all I wanted to do was to paint my characters, and like my dream is to be able to think about a scene and paint it, you know, like that's all I wanted. I just wanted to think about a scene where both of my characters are together and be able to actually paint it. But you need to kind of like let this little creative side of you a bit to the side and try to learn how things actually work. And I'm not saying that you can't paint your OCs. Of course you can. But when you start digital art, it's about studying art. So before you can actually be able to paint your characters the way you want to paint your characters, you need to learn how to paint, you know? And if you just get really stubborn and be like, no, I just want to paint my OCs and stuff, and I know how to use the brushes already, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And then you sit down and it looks like crap. And then you're like, haha, I should have studied more. Because I feel like as a beginner digital artist, I just wanted to paint everything I wanted. And it ended up looking so bad, I just felt so discouraged. So again, I'm not saying that you can't paint the things you want. You obviously should, because that's the reason why you started painting in the first place. But I'm just wanting to give you this tip of studying art, and especially studying other artists. YouTube has such a great place where you can literally watch speed paints for how long you want, for free. So literally make a compilation of all your favorite artists and go watch their speed paints. You can even watch mine, but I feel like for a beginner artist, maybe it's not going to be ideal. But watch the speed paints of artists that you feel like maybe have more of a simpler thing, or more like how I draw eyes. That would be like a good first step, okay? So watch it in slow motion. Copy every single thing the artist does in the speed paint, and you're going to learn how the painting process actually work. Watch videos where people explain their painting processes and see what you can learn from this, you know? And again, if you make a study of an artist, do not post it without credit. I would recommend not even posting it. Like, if you're actually studying from someone else's art, then it could even be borderline stealing from them. But for studying purposes, every single artist does it. Like, the same way we study from life, we study other artists. So don't feel bad for like making kind of like a study from the artist, as long as you don't say that it was your idea, and as long as you don't post it without credit and all those types of things. But I feel like that would literally be my last tip, just thinking that speed paints, they can literally give you a sense of direction, and just start studying art in a really easy way. Do baby steps, get familiar with the interface, and then start painting, trying to paint your own characters and make a mix. Like, today I'm going to study and tomorrow I'm going to try to paint something I want. And slowly, little by little, you're going to get more comfortable with digital art, and it's not going to be this like huge monster that scares you and you just keep thinking that, oh no, I'm never going to be as good as this person and blah blah blah, all those insecurities. And last but not least, just sit down and paint. And you are going to make bad art in the start, but do it so you can learn. That is literally it. And if you have any doubts, you can literally just research it on YouTube. Like, there are so many amazing artists in this platform that they can literally answer you any questions. If you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comments and I will answer you. And honestly, if you related to anything I said, drop a comment below, because I need to know if I was the only one struggling with starting to paint in a Wacom tablet. But that's it. Remember that you can always research and ask artists questions. Like, the artist community is so sweet. The digital artist community, I'm not really sure about every single other community, but in general, artist communities are so sweet. And we are going to help you. Don't be afraid. We're not monsters. We're not trying to say we're better than you. We're just learning, just like you are. So feel hugged. Feel our love. I'm going to be making a video about how I study art soon, but my next video is going to be about avoiding burnout as an Instagram illustrator, because I've been so active on Instagram and I've learned a few tips. I really wanted to talk about that. But I really hope this video helped you. And here is the final painting. I hope you liked it, and thank you so much for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe and leave a like. And thank you so much. Bye.